welcome to another episode of the Next Iteration podcast. I'm Chirag, and with me, there's Channs. Um, we are going to talk to you about what are characteristics of a good test strategy. In our previous episode, we've talked about why and how having a good test strategy is essential for today's teams, because unless you have that, you can't deliver with confidence frequently into production. So it's an important thing for teams to get right. And today we want to share with you what good looks like. What are the characteristics of a good testing strategy? So we have a bunch of points, and Chands and I are going to ping pong and share a couple of points each. So Chands, uh, you're it. What do you want to start with?
All right, Chirag. Uh, I think in these days, speed is the name of the game. So, as expected, like the primary characteristic of a good test strategy would be speed and efficiency because they go together. What do I mean by this is to have quick feedback loops, Chirag. You're as good as how fast your test runs. And as we know, unit tests shouldn't take more than even milliseconds to run. Then you go to integration tests where you're mixing a couple of contexts and testing them together. You're like preparing test data. Those could take a few minutes. And at the other end of the spectrum, you would have end-to-end tests. These primarily mimic a user and they would test the happy path. So these could take a few minutes, but in a way, if you and me took a coffee break now and come back, and if all of your test suite can run within that, I would qualify that as good speed. If it takes longer than that, it's going to slow down people. If it's going to take half a day or so, then people are not going to run it every day or every few hours. If it takes an entire day, then people have to plan for downtime. And then it will affect not only the productivity of development, it will also impact with what confidence and what speed can you release code and roll it back as well. So gone are the era of like downtime for deployments and so on. This is the era of zero downtime deployment. So clearly, one important aspect would be speed and efficiency. Chirag.
Right. So the other thing that's important is that your tests, all the tests that you have together, they need to cover the code base in a variety of ways and check for a variety of things. So
Mm.
good test strategy covers multiple different kinds of tests, unit tests and integration tests and API tests and end-to-end tests and tests for the front end and so on, and also cross-functional tests. So automated tests for performance, for security, for compliance, etc. All of these need to be part of your test strategy for for it to give you the confidence that you've checked for everything, and indeed when the tests go green, then you are ready to go live.
Yeah, agree fully. The next natural point, Chirag, would be maintainability. Yeah, you can go very fast, but it also matters how fast can you slow down and how fast can you evolve from there. And we have spoken a lot about good quality code, good quality tests, and infra as code, and so on. So that implies that whatever tests that you write is actually part of your source control, and it should be clean code. It should be readable code because so it's not readable. It should not. It's not good enough to be readable by like systems or machines. It should be readable by human beings because people change on the project, new people join in. So you should treat your test code with the same care as your production code, Chirag. And there should be clean code practices, refactoring, following design patterns, keeping it modular, probably preferring the same tools that you use for source code and so on. So I think as your code grows in terms of size and complexity, if you ensure that your tests also easily grow with them, then it's not going to become a burden. Otherwise, it, I mean, if you're debugging your unit tests, that's the first sign of like not doing well.
Yeah, and test code needs to be easy to evolve and change for the team, right? Otherwise
Yes.
that itself can slow you down.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so you have to be careful of that as a team and keep investing in keeping your tests code to be clean and maintainable.
Yeah.
Okay, so next I can cover, this one's really obvious that once you have good tests and that cover the code base in a variety of ways and so on, it's obvious that you will get value from it once you actually use it to keep getting feedback constantly. And so integrating making sure that all of your tests are automated or most of your tests are automated and they are integrated with your continuous integration pipelines and with your continuous deployment pipelines is crucial. And that is what then that kind of automated running of the tests at the right sort of checkpoints in the development life cycle is what gives people the confidence and builds that habit that you could just do your thing, build a piece of build a new feature, write some tests, write some code, write some tests, write some code, and then be able to before check-in run, push one button that checks and gives you the confidence that everything's running well. And similarly, once it's all checked in, before deployment, you can hit one button or automatically it's probably already run and go green, and that's when you can then see the deploy button and you can hit it. So all that kind of automation and integration is an essential feature of a team that is getting its test strategy right.
Yeah, clearly, Chirag. I think I couldn't agree more, having seen some pitfalls around this. The next one would be who owns testing? This is an important question. If the answer is yeah, one set of role or one set of people in the team, that's not correct. And it could be that, but one thing should be that things should be clear. There should be clarity on which kind of test developers run. Typically, developers should take the responsibility for writing unit tests, integration tests, and maybe some contract tests as part of the development process. And you should bake this into your definition of done. You should not call a story done until these tests are put into place. So that, like, writing tests is not only a QA person or a QA roles it's one's responsibility. And QAs also focus on their tests because they focus on the domain. They want to think like an end user, so they will focus more on the end-to-end test part. They may do other kind of exploratory testing, and they'll work closer with the business representatives as well. So we need to come together as a team, realize that like the test suite is a shared responsibility of the team, and also be clear who is responsible for what kind of test. Chirag.
All right, so next I'll talk about the fact that your test suite and all the tests in it, uh, you need to run in an extremely reliable and consistent manner.
Hmm.
So if a test fails, it should indeed be for the reason that there is some bug in the actual code base.
Hmm.
What shouldn't happen is that there are just flaky tests that sometimes fail and sometimes pass, and gives people these false negatives. And that's very important that your tests don't give you false negatives, and because otherwise it will erode trust and teams will start to overlook genuine issues because they've come to believe that, oh, tests can sometimes fail for no good reason. And so that is really important. And similarly, when the tests run, one should be able to go through the test results in a way to sort of understand what all tests ran and what all scenarios have got covered. So how do you organize your tests and how do you name different test scenarios is an important thing for teams to get right, because that builds confidence in the team.
Yeah, very true. One more point to add, Chirag. This is very important because generally any technical task, we should visualize it as being linked to a business goal, and that is being funded and clearly has a value for the end user. So, what I would call this point would be the alignment with business goals. If you have a test strategy that should be aligned with business metrics that you can measure. so that you may have needs such as reduced deployment time. It could be, like you just mentioned, improved consistency. It could be confidence to go live faster and so on. So whatever value that your automated tests are bringing in, those should be quantified and made visible to the stakeholders. And that is when it becomes clear then how is it, like how is a test strategy very integral to your system. Otherwise, sometimes incorrectly writing tests or like investing in testing tools might be seen as wastage, but it is not true. Or people could fall back to the known mechanisms of saying that, yeah, let me do manual testing because these automated tests seem to take time or they seem to take cost, but I'm not getting the value for that. So I would say, yeah, be clear about the value that you get from your tests. Do not focus on low value tests. Focus on parts of code that change, and ensure that your business stakeholders are aligned on the on the expected ROI.
Cool. So we've covered a bunch of the key characteristics of good test strategy. Let me recap it this way: that a good test strategy is when your tests run fast, they are maintainable, they are reliable, and when there is alignment within the team and with the business about the importance of it and about the importance of getting that right. And it's when you have all of these things in your test strategy is what will then enable the team to be able to deliver high quality at speed.
Yeah.
So that's our thoughts about what makes a good test strategy. When we meet next in our next episode, we'll talk about some pitfalls that we've commonly seen teams fall into while implementing testing approaches, and we'll talk about what those are, what those pitfalls are, and how you can take care to avoid them. So see you again later. Bye bye.